Now, on her three-day visit to the Philippines, U.S. Vice President Kamala Harris will travel to the western island of Palawan today. It is located on the edge of the disputed South China Sea, and the visit will make Harris the highest-ranking official ever to visit the western island of Palawan. The U.S. Vice President is expected to meet with the residents, civil society leaders and representatives of the Philippines Coast Guard. According to officials, the trip to the Philippine island will reaffirm Washington's commitment to stand with Manila. This will be in upholding the rules-based international maritime order in the South China Sea. China had earlier claimed some territories in the waters of Palawan and much of the South China Sea, but a 2016 ruling by a tribunal in Hague declared the Chinese claims had no legal basis. Harris's trip to the Palawan comes a day after she held talks with the Philippine President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. During the meeting, she reiterated United States' unwavering commitment in defending the Philippines. Now, to give us more insight, we are being joined by Danilo Arao, a journalist and an author from the Philippines. Welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, let's get the basics first. What are you expecting from Kamala Harris's visit to Palawan today?
Of course, we expect the reaffirmation of U.S. military relations, particularly a strong statement against China regarding its territorial incursions on what we call as the West Philippine Sea, which is that part of the South China Sea, which is supposed to be our exclusive economic zone. So we expect that, but at the same time, we're not expecting too much from it because, as you recall, at the G20 summit in Indonesia, there was also a short conversation between Xi Jinping and Kamala Harris. So we hope that there would be more statement and more resolution to the effect that China would finally be forced to adhere to the rule of law, particularly the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea.
Right. Arao, today's visit is very similar to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan because China claims both islands as theirs, right? So after that August meeting, we saw Beijing launch multiple military drills. What are you expecting from Xi Jinping this time?
Well, right now, there's tension in the Pag-asa Island, which is about 500 kilometers away from Palawan. What's a bit different with Taiwan is that at least Palawan is not being claimed by China. It's only certain parts of the exclusive economic zone of which we have tension. But the Philippine government should be more independent-minded in terms of asserting our sovereignty. We cannot just expect support from foreign powers like the U.S., which is incidentally a former colonial master of ours. We were under U.S. colonial rule for about 50 years. So just like Indonesia, just like Vietnam, I think this should be a wake-up call, a strong wake-up call to the Philippine government to be more firm and to be more independent-minded in terms of handling the so-called China crisis.
Now, Kamala Harris's visit to Philippines comes exactly a week after Joe Biden sat down with Xi Jinping. One statement read from that meeting: "We are going to compete vigorously, but I'm not looking for conflict." So today's meeting, is it part of the competition or the conflict?
Okay, that's a good question. Of course, China would look at it as something like a provocation of sorts, and for the Philippine government, it will be framed within the narrative of having a strong ally against the so-called Chinese bully. But be that as it may, the Philippines should not be caught between, the proxy war, a de facto war between U.S. on one hand and China on the other. We should be level-headed enough to realize that the U.S. and China are directly competing for global sovereignty, and we cannot afford to be in the middle, whether it's India, whether it's the Philippines, or any other part of Asia.
All right. Thank you for all those insights, Danilo Arao. We will be tracking the visit closely.
Thank you very much.